You probably know that clear expectations and consistent consequences or follow through on that is what helps children become good adults with both happiness and good emotion regulation. But a big question parents ask is, hey, how do I set these consequences without it looking, I feel like I'm just punishing children when I do that, because many parents imagine consequence, oh yes. Punishment and consequence are different. Now I'll give you a mental model, okay? Punishments is this belief that when children are given some negative feeling for a thing they did, they will learn to not do it anymore. There's a lot of evidence suggests that is not a good way to learn. But the consequence is something that's logical and proportional. That might happen in the real world also. That's used to teach the child, hey, this is kind of how the real world works, and I'm simulating it for you. Not perfectly, but as much as I can. Let's get examples. Okay, so your goal is to give consequences, not punishments. And the way to do that is, first, be clear about the boundary and the consequence ahead of time. It's like you're building a video game for them. You're setting up the video game. Hey, these are the rules of the game, in this case, your house. For example, if you say that, hey, I want you to do a little bit of your self-learning every day before you go and play or do screen time, because it's just safer that way. I prefer it that way. And you'll also have more energy. And you also say, when that does get broken, when you do play before, I'm going to delay your screen time after. So the child knows what world they're getting in. The second thing to follow is, if possible, make these house rules. Whatever of these boundaries can be applicable to everybody, make it just house rules. For example, if you have a rule like, hey, post 9:30, we'll not have screens. Make that a house rule you're telling the child, which is true for everybody, and you don't break it too. So the child doesn't feel like, oh, okay, it's just for me. I know it's not possible for all boundaries because children are different from adults, but if some of the rules are like this, they end up forming a world model of the house. So the third thing to do is, when the boundary is broken, make the consequence logically in line with what they did. For example, if you have a boundary, that an expectation that let's speak respectfully in the house, whether it's the outsiders or insiders, and let's say a child does not speak respectfully, a logical consequence to that is, hey, let's pause this conversation till you're ready to try again, and you can take as much time as you want, but when you try again, let's keep it respectful. Now that's logical, right? What is logical but not proportional is, hey, I'm not talking to you for the next day. I'm not talking to you for a week, or extreme cases, I'm never talking to you. The problem with this is it's too disproportionate. It feels punitive, and also if it's too high, the child's not even going to take you seriously. Yeah, you're not going to talk to me for the rest of no way, right? The other mistake is to make it illogical or inconsistent, which is, hey, no dessert for you because you're disrespectful. Now the problem with that is that it's not connected to being respectful. Dessert and respect are not really connected. So the child doesn't really learn anything, and also comes across as a bit punitive. Now the last thing to do is that in all of this, keeping your tone kind of warm and teachy and growth mindset-y, despite the fact that a boundary is being broken, not being like, you broke a boundary, now you've lost all your privileges from my side of my warmth towards you or my love towards you. It's not that. You're just helping them change their behavior and continuing to maintain that tone of warmth while you still firmly state the consequence is the last piece to get this right. So hopefully this helps you set consequences and stick to them over time.